right now. So today agenda is first we will see how to use try and catch in the code block. We will go quickly on that, but it's it has been asked, and it's a quick way to get some or do some error handling within the code block. It can be helpful for some of you. I have a quick question to answer about Amazon SES. We will also try to grab information from Wikipedia, and from that do some machine learning stuff, or text analytics, and find a response or an answer to our question. And the second part of this Fix It Hour session will be for the APL project. And in this project, we will use some APL code to show a clock, but also do some effect to an image or background image, and some more stuff I will share with you. So let's dive in with the first question, which was, is it possible to use Amazon SES within Voiceflow? Yes, it is. The only issue with that is if you have a, sorry about that. If you have a quick look at the AWS documentation, you will see that first it can be a bit complicated to use that in the at least as it in the API block. Just because you need URL encoding and stuff like that. The second thing is you need to do a signature or generate, sign all the requests, which again, it's possible to do in Voiceflow in pure JavaScript, but that can be a pain. So the second option is to use the AWS SDK on the serviceless function, like on Node.js, for example. You can try that with glitch.com. You ask your API and generate endpoint, which you can talk with within Voiceflow and the API block. And the other solution, but it's not about using SES. It's about using external services like SendGrid. It's easier simply because we already have a template and a tutorial for that. So at least if we absolutely need to use SES, and again, you can do that, but you will need to deal with the backend, or at least generate some endpoints. So Voiceflow, Voiceflow can talk to those endpoints and do the requests you need more easily. But if you don't have to stick to, you can go for SendGrid, for example. So that was for the first question. Let's go on the second or the first project, but I want to share some news on the prompt block. You already you must be aware of, but I've made a quick project right there to explain what it's for, actually. So we used to have the actually we still have the choice block with the else input. Good news is you can now choose if you want that to act as a else, but also do a reprompt. So instead of having, for example, the most use case is basically add a speak block, and if nothing fits the intent, you will have a message like, okay, I didn't get that, please try again, and you link that back to the prompt. So what you can do now is switch the else to the else pass to a reprompt. And this will allow you to, instead of having the else, you will have some prompts that you can customize and add. You can add up to three no match prompts. And let's show that straight in the prompt block. So that was the choice block, but you also have the option on that one. So the prompt block is a simple block like that. And because it's a prompt, you may want to add a question before or some text, so the user can understand that they need to say something. And here in this example, we have what do you want to do? And then we're listening. And we also are using intent block right there. And those intent block are linked to some flow. Those one are emptied just for demo purpose, but hopefully you get the point. So here, the user will have the prompt and it can trigger with the utterance, it can trigger the corresponding intent. So basically, what do you want to do? I want more information about something. If your intent right there, or if this utterance is corresponding to one of those in the intent, the user will be redirected to the corresponding flow. And that's it, no more linking stuff. So that's a way to basically make a main menu in your scale. So that was for the prompt stuff. Let's check the try and catch in the code block. So this was asked by one of our users, and let me refresh that. Well, yeah, should be easier like that. And again, I've made a quick demo here. So this is a way to do that. Basically, we are bypassing the error or the fail part in the code block. Let me show you the code block right there. By default, it looks like this. So success, failure. If something wrong happens in your code, it will trigger the failure part. And what we want to do actually is basically got the same error message that you can have when you are prototyping or testing the skill. And you have some more message. So for example, when you select prototype and you go to settings, you can tick the or enable the debug mode right there. And this will give you more information during the execution of the test. So what we want to do is to have those informations within our code block. And a way to do that is using a try and catch. So here, this is a simple code, but what you want to do is always add that when you obviously when you need to do a error handling. For example, you are dealing with an external data like a JSON, and sometimes the JSON is not correct or the data you want is not there. You may want to be able to handle that and send a corresponding message to the user. So let's try that right now. Let's remove this one. Sorry. Yep. I think I have to remove that because yes, my computer is saying. Yep. I will do a refresh right after that. Let's link that again to that one. Yes. Okay. And remove that one. And do a refresh right now, just to be sure. So what we are going to do is run the prototype test. This will go, and we shouldn't have any error right there because the code is fine. So it will act as the success, and by the way, it will go through the success part. So let me show you the code again. So we will try to let the debug variable with the string something. If everything went well, we are now catching any error, and we will go through the, okay, let's try that.
Okay.
And we have a okay. That's some right there, put them up. But what can we do to handle any error here? So let's generate an error. So here I will generate an error back because this is totally wrong. And let's try that again.
Error, new date is not defined.
Okay, so this time we've set the error to 1, and because we have an if block right there, if the error is not equal to 0, this is a failure or an error, and we go to this message. And the error message variable, which is new date is not defined, has been populated by this code. The code did catch an error, set the error value to 1, so the if block can redirect to the corresponding speak block. And we've also set the value of the error message variable to the corresponding error message. We don't have to set the error message. It will basically send the corresponding error message for us. Let's try with another issue. This time we are trying to parse a JSON string, or a string that should be a JSON, but again, it's incomplete, so it should generate an error. But it's just to show you that the error will be different. So it's helping you when you try to debug JavaScript.
Error, unexpected token in JSON at position 5.
So we have the type of error and what or in what position it is happening. So yeah, that's a way to get more information about the error you can encounter in the code block, and also a way to deal with that and redirect the user if you want to handle that, if you want to inform the user. But at least you have a better way to do error handling in this case. Okay, now let's go to the first main project for today. So let's put that in the right place. So this project is something I've think of while browsing on the Algorithmia website. I found two functions that can be helpful. The first one is a Wikipedia parser, and as the name can say, it's basically you send an article name and the language, and you will get the information for that article. You have the full text, you have some images, some links, but also a summary. And this is what we are going to use today. And the other thing is, it's fine to get an information from Wikipedia and ask Alexa for that by voice. But it can be also interesting to do, and with this function machine comprehension, it can be interesting to actually analyze the text we get, the summary we get, and from that, try to answer a question from the user. So basically, the user will ask for, in this example, we will ask for who, I have some here. So for example, who built the Eiffel Tower? And the skill will go to Wikipedia, try to find the article matching the Eiffel Tower, grab the summary, and send that to this function with the corresponding question, who built the Eiffel Tower? And from that, we should have the corresponding answer, hopefully. So that's the project. And that's how I've made it within Voiceflow. A quick bonus here. I will talk also about handling multiple languages. So I've made that for US or English and French, simply because we can do that with the Wikipedia parser. So I think that's a good way to test that. So let's start from the beginning. First, we are setting the long variable to UN for English, and this is the value we will send to the API call, which is again this. The first call will be to this URL with the token corresponding to your account, and the content will be a JSON with what article you are looking for and the language. So to be able to handle multiple languages, you need obviously to have that translate in the corresponding language. So we have some variable already set up right there with English and the corresponding version for French. So if language is FR, we are setting the variable to the corresponding value, but in French. So, all right, we are dealing with that, and then we are using all the variable in our dialog or the speak block. Here, the welcome dialog. Here, the anything dialog, which is the anything else, for example, the question prompt. So basically, all the speak block will have a variable corresponding to the dialog and the language we want to use for that. That's the first part. The second one is the choice block. So in the choice block, we are using our kind of tricky catch-all intent with the book slot. So the book slot will be able to catch pretty much everything. Here we basically want to catch a question. So it should be fine. It's not too long. Otherwise, we should use the search query, but the search query need a carrier phrase before or in the U-turns right there before the slot. So the book should do the job quite well right there. We also have the default no intent, just because when we do all the stuff and we ask the user if they want to, if they basically if they want to do a more search, or if they have another question, and the user should be able to say no and go out of the scope. To avoid any conflict, I'm not using the yes intent right there, but instead the yes will be captured by the book slot, or I mean the intent question. And what we are doing is, so if the slot value is equal yes, or yes with an uppercase, then it means the user say yes. And for that, we are doing we're going back to the choice. To explain that a bit more, it's basically at the end. We are asking if they want to ask another question. So if the user say yes, we should then tell them, okay, what's your question? But the user should also be able to ask a new question right away. So instead of saying yes and ask the question, we also want the user to be able to say, okay, the next question. So that's a way to handle that. So here we are using some variable, summary, answer, and error. The first API call is what we've seen right there to this URL. In that, you need the authorization, which is available on the on your account on Algorithmia. The content type is application JSON, and what we want to grab is the response result summary. So from that, if everything went fine, so if we don't have any, as you can see right there, we are grabbing the summary, but also the response error type. And if we are something in the error, and that's why we set the error variable to 0 before making the call. If the error is not equal to 0, then it means that the API call didn't return any response or any response we can use. So we are using the dialog that say, okay, we don't find any answer for that. Otherwise, we are going to the second one, which is this combined block with the first code block that will replace any weird character that Alexa will had a hard time to handle. We are removing, for example, double quotes and also the line break. Just to avoid any more issue. Same because we are sending back the summary to the other call or in the other API request. We need to clean that to be sure that we don't have any invalid character. And that's what we are doing right there with some regex. So again, it's commented, and I will share this product with you. Yeah, first one is for a non-valid, for only valid character. So it's a whitelist of what we want to keep. The opposite is this one, which remove the double quotes, and this one will remove the line break. So the second call in the API block is to do this second part, which is analyzing the text or the content and try to find an answer to our question. And our question is from the first choice block, basically. And if we find something, we just speak back the answer. And if not, we told the user that we didn't find anything. The little trick here is right before the second call, we are sending or printing but not speaking the content of the summary. You can do that with the SSML sub tag. So here, Alexa will say what was the question, and will print or display the summary, which is the text we got from the Wikipedia. So that's a good way for the user to know that, okay, we found this article, and so they can also maybe find their answer if we can provide a correct answer for them. Let's try that. So open answer me.
I don't know that one.
Oh yeah, answer me, no. But answer me, you should know that one.
Welcome to answer my question. What do you want to know?
So I've written someone, but we start with who built the Eiffel Tower.
Okay, looking for an answer to your question. Who built the Eiffel Tower? The answer should be Gustav Eiffel. Anything else?
So as you can see, Alexa did not actually speak all that stuff. It's good for us to have that. It's the information regarding the Eiffel Tower, but instead she just said the answer should be Gustav Eiffel, and then we have the prompt, anything else, so we can ask another question. And so the example here is if I answer yes.
What do you want to know?
We have the first prompt, what do you want to know? But at this step, I'm also able to basically ask a question. And that's exactly what we want to do. Who created The Simpsons?
Okay, looking for an answer to your question. Who created The Simpsons? The answer should be Matt Groening.
So
Anything else?
Same thing here. We'll hold the information, but Alexa will not speak that, but instead speak the answer. Another one a bit tricky, at least more tricky. So what is the A of the Eiffel Tower? It's not tricky for us, more for the this machine comprehension thing, but should be fine as I've already tested that.
Okay, looking for an answer to your question. What is the height of the Eiffel Tower? The answer should be 158 meters, 518.4 feet. Anything else?
So working's pretty well. Of course, you may want to tweak that a bit, or for some information, you may want to split the step in two. So first, ask for the user for a topic, or a topic they want the question to be related to, and that will help the Wikipedia API to grab the correct article, and then ask them the question they want. But for this kind of use, it works. So that should be it. We can now go to the other project, which is the clock. So again, this is something I was thinking. I'm a fan of Momentum extension on Chrome. So this is an extension you can install, and this will bring you on each new tab. This will bring you this kind of stuff. So it's a background image that will be a new one each day. You have the corresponding hour, welcome thing, like a mantra and a quote, and some other function that I didn't add to this project, but I've made some change. And for example, I think this thing is a bit too static for me. I would like the background to be kind of have an effect and kind of a move a bit. Also, I don't need that. I will prefer to have the mantra here and the quote just under. And yes, we also want to have those information, the credits for the picture, at the end of the screen. So let's do that. I will open also this one. Finger crossed. Hopefully I still got the template here. Not pretty sure about that. Okay, let's go back to Voiceflow right now. So talk about the moving part. I'll talk about the clock, but I should also talk about the audio. What I want to do is add a background audio, which is not on the extension, the Chrome extension. So for that, I'm using the code I've already put in the YouTube template. So you can have a look at that template, but basically you use a YouTube URL, and from that, the code will bring you back the URL you want to use in a Streamblock or on APL in a video item if you want to play a video, for example. And this is exactly what I'm using for this project. What we have here is a setting block in the beginning of the project. And the first is the YouTube URL. The second is if we want or if we don't want sound. Some user may don't want to have a background sound. And we also need to use an API key. And what is this API key is basically what you will have from the Momentum extension when you go to networks and you check for like a call. So let's try that one, and the to-do should be fine. And we want to header from that. Okay, headers. And in the headers, you will have your authorization. And this is basically your API key corresponding to your account on Momentum. So this is the thing you want to use in that project. Let's go back to the corresponding one. Okay. Then we will also use the credits. Credits are what you see on the bottom of the screen. Just to thank the people who take the photo. We will also have some information like the title or where the photo has been taken. And now we are making 3 calls to the Momentum API. The first one is to grab the background or the image from the Momentum, or from your account on Momentum. And this will give you back all the latest, I will grab that. All the latest image used by the extension on your account. So let's do that. Just and should be good. Yes. So this is what it looks like. You have multiple item, 40 right there. Oh, sorry, 20 almost. And you have the attribution. This is what we want, the title, and the preview URL. And same here. This is exactly what we want to use. The only thing I've spotted is the image are from Flickr or Unsplash. The image from Unsplash are fine. This is the case here. But from Flickr, they can be a bit in lower resolution for a big screen. So the trick here is to swap the Z for M, for example. So you will grab another resolution, a much larger resolution. And this is what we will do in this code block. So this is the first API call, grabbing the background image and the credit information. The second one is the quote. Pretty much the same thing. We are just grabbing the first quote or the last quote from the history. So the quote of the day, if you want. And the last one is for the mantras. And that's exactly the same as the quote, but instead we are grabbing the last mantra. As explained in the code block, we are going to check if the background image URL is on Flickr. If it's the case, we are replacing Z or by B, underscore B. We do some also some stuff for the attribution. I'm not a big fan of that, so I'm just changing so it's more visually nice. And again, for the credits, if we don't have, sometimes it's happened, so we don't have a title or we don't have attribution, we want to handle that. And that's exactly what we are doing right there, to be sure that we don't have any zero or stuff like that in the credits variable. The next step is the YouTube converter. So we are just grabbing the URL we want. And if everything is fine, the status is okay, and the sound is yes, then we are setting the YouTube URL to whatever we choose to set. Then this one is the display block, and this is what is interesting today. Obviously, we don't have a big data source for that one. We are sending the background URL, the mantra, the quotes, the credits, and the audio URL from we got from the YouTube conversion. We also do a repeat count -1, which is an infinite loop. So if I do remember, the song is about 2 hours long. And if you are using the repeat count -1, this will loop indefinitely. So that's a way to have the skill always available on your device. Let's say, yeah, not looking good. So I think I will try to open that on a new one. Okay, you know what? Let's just do that. So to get access to the editor, you click on your display, you check that you are on the advanced section or tab, and you click authoring tool. That should be do the trick. Okay. While you are doing that, let's just save the template right there. All right, and we will load this template in the APL editor. So let's choose upload. Upload. I will remove that one. I don't know why it's. And it was the Momentum. That. All right. So this is what the APL template looks like. The first thing you can see is we don't have to do much to actually have the real time right there. I will show you that. Then we have the mantra, the quotes, and the credits. The thing we also want to do is to add a specific version for the spot. So here, the credits will be a bit upper, not really at the bottom of the screen, let's say that. And the mantra and quotes are a bit upper also, almost in the middle of the screen for the mantra. And the size of the text has been is a bit less is a bit smaller. Sorry. So to do that, let's switch on this type of screen. What we have is a first container with the background in it, and the background is grabbed from the data. So this is the URL we've sent in Voiceflow. As you remember, everything, all the data here are available right there, the data source. So what we are passing right there will be available here in the APL, and that's also why you can't see anything right there or right now. Let's look at the APL. So a first container with an image, and then we will add, on top of that, we will have a second container, this one. And in this container, we are going to have the first big text, which is the clock, followed by the mantra. And then we will have two blocks right there. But as you can see with the little pop-up message we have when close. And if we go back to the code, The when close is basically this when. And you have two blocks, but what Alexa will do is check for this when close, and if it's the viewport profile equal a round small, which is the spot, it will do this, it will execute this item, and if it's not, it will do this instead. So basically you have two items, but one for each version, or one for each device, or viewport profile, I should say. So this is for the hub run small profile, and this is for the others. And so the wise is a bit different on the spot, and also the the top here, it's almost at the bottom. If I don't know, it's the quote. It's almost at the top of the mantra right there. But on the other device, it's a bit lower. We have a top of 5, which you can see right there. Instead, on the spot, it's here. So we don't have that much of difference between all the three texts. Here the credit are right there, and the credit is here. We are doing the same. If we are on the room small, the credits will be smaller center instead of being on the left. We will center that, because on the spot, if the credit was on the left, we can't see that, or a part of it will be cut. I think I'll also, the wide should be small. Yeah, the wide is 70. Here we are using all the screen here. So that's the kind of tweak you want to do, so everything fits well on the spot. The other when close we are using is for the shadow, and yeah, I'm not sure we will see that. So let's open Unsplash. And try to grab that one. Nope. Yeah, let's go for that one. So we have URL for the image. We can put that right there. And yes, we have a picture right there. So as you can see, we have some shadow here. And I've added that because on lighter images, if you have a white background, for example, you want the clock to detach a bit. Same for mantra and quote or credits. So we are using shadows. But the thing is, during my test, I've seen that on the Fire TV, for example, if the shadow value is too high, and that's, at least during my test, that was if the shadow radius was more than 10, then the APL wouldn't show at all. It's working fine on ADC, but on a device, the skill just quit. And if you put that back to 10, for example, it's working fine. So what we want to do is, as we've done for the spot, we want to also check if it's on the Fire TV or TV, for example, and we can use the profile TV landscape X large. And if it's the case, the shadow radius will be equal to 10. Otherwise, it would be 25. And that's exactly the effect we have right there. Let's try that on TV. As you can see, you have a difference right there. So the shadow is not the same if you are using a TV. That's the smallest shadow, let's say, or the radius is lower. But if you go back to a Nico show, for example, the shadow will be, the radius will be a bit larger. So yeah, that's a way to handle that. Basically, that's a kind of a if. That's not a kind of if, that's a if. If TV landscape X large, then the value is 10, or else it's 25. And we do that for all the text block, so the mantra, the quote, and the credits. The other thing we want to do is to be sure that the skill will stay open. And to do that, we should also use the trick we already talked about, which is using the video, an empty video with a send event, sorry, on end event with an argument which is Voiceflow video ended. This will allow Voiceflow to understand that, or in the code, this will say basically, okay, wait the APL code to execute what it has to do until we get the Voiceflow video ended event. And so if we don't send that event, we will be, the skill will be still running. And that's exactly what we want to do. The other stuff we want to do, if you do remember, I want to add some effect on that. So that's also something we are doing during, with this event on mount on the video player. So let's go back to the visual editor right there. Again, the container, one big container, the background image, another container with the clock, mantra, quotes, and two versions of that, one for the spot and one for all the other device. And after the container, we'll also have, so still in the large one, we have the two different texts, one for the spot and one for the other device. So that's the credits. And another one, which is the background audio. So this will grab the audio URL right there, and it will loop that indefinitely. And this one is an empty one, just to do the Voiceflow video and or just to deal this on end event, to deal with this. So as you can see in the video item on mount, we are executing some commands, and the type is parallel, which means that we are executing all those commands at the same time in parallel, basically. And one of these commands is the animate item, and the other one is the play for the audio player item, or the item with the audio player ID. And you can see that the video item has the audio player ID. So here we are saying that we want this video item to play. And at the same time, we also want some animation. So, and the animation is the good thing with the new APL editor is that you can now preview stuff. So hopefully, yeah, it's working. So you can see that the picture or the background is slightly moving, actually rotating. And this will do that during a lot of time. Actually, repeat count is a height number right there. So let's check that. Yeah, weirdly, the -1 is not working here. So if you do that, yeah, Yeah, no, nothing happened. Okay, now it's working. Okay, maybe I will try with that. Maybe it will work. But last time I've checked that it wasn't working on the device, so that's why I've put a lot of number here. So this is how many times this will be repeated. And what we are repeating is a transform. So that's the animation transform from X, Y, 0, 0, and the rotate 0. So basically the frame you have, the picture you have. And then we transform that to, and the destination is translate X, Y, and rotate still. But while the rotate is fixed, the translate X and Y are dynamic, and we are using some value here to grab a random number. And that's exactly what this stuff is doing. If you want more information about this kind of function, this is all in the APL documentation, APL data. You have binding and you have sources, I think. Let's go back right there when it's loading. But yeah, you have access to all those information, how to deal with that. And this will be repeated indefinitely. The last thing you may want to know is, okay, but how do we get the time right there? And this is with this kind of variable. So here, again, let's just check. So yeah, quickly, that's the profile available. So you can see that room small is for the spot, up to TV landscape X large. So that's what I'm using here to detect what device is, or to differentiate the device. But what we want to do is grab the time. And again, it's in the APL data binding documentation. You have some time function, you have some math function. That's why we are using the random stuff. Also string, you can do lower, uppercase, stuff like that. So that's pretty neat. And what we want to use right here is the time format function. And this will format the time as a text. And we have some option for that. As we can see, we want the 12-hour format. So we will going to use the h, small h, lowercase h, and 2m, 2 lowercase m, to have the minute with 2 digits. Go back right there. So times.format. The format is h, 2m, local time, and local time will give the local time, the device local time. So that's pretty much it for the time. Basically, you don't have anything to do apart from sizing it if you want, and add some shadow. So let's try that on Alexa. Let's move that on the other side. I will just reload everything just to be sure. Yep, so that's on another account, sorry. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, I'm sorry, I don't know why this computer is slow as hell, but I think it's more on the connection. I should have to remove my video, but okay, let's do a test right there. Yeah, it should be good. So this is grabbing the today's picture. We are doing some random stuff to the picture, kind of rotate also, showing the time with a little shadow under it, the mantra quote, and the credits right there. So let's also do the same thing for the spot, just to check that everything is fine. And yes, as you can see, because we had the when and using the profile, we have another. We are using the other items for the spot. So this is not on the left; this is centered, and the text is a bit smaller. Just everything can fit on the screen. And as you can see, it's 6:19, so it's the time in the session. Let's just check let's check for some question right there. Use integration to enable the user to schedule when their favorite podcast or to schedule real play on the APL device. That's a good question. You can use notification for that, but it will not open the skill. It will just notify the user that something is new or a new media is available, and they will have to launch the skill for that. But yes, you can do that with a proactive notification. Try catch again. This is by default. Yeah, we are thinking of, sorry, I'm not reading the question out loud, but it was about the try catch stuff and maybe integrating that in the code block. And yes, this is something we are thinking of. You already seen kind of an update for the prototype test tool, where you can have no more log messages. So yes, this is something that is coming one step at a time. We are really focusing on the voice design right now, prototype stuff. So, but again, this is something that will be available. It's just good for you to know how to do it right now if you want to. On the project settings, how can the advanced tab be used? On the project settings, how can the advanced tab be used? Are you talking about that one or this one? I think you, okay. So this is typically for the proactive notification events. So you can check right there on the marketplace. You have the proactive notification, and within the template you have a kind of a model, and this is also available in the tutorial. We are talking about what you actually need to put in that. That's the kind of a manifest for which notification you want to trigger or to use in your skill. So this is basically for that. To notification should be there somewhere. Maybe I already passed it and you say, hey, you passed it already. Notification, that's the one. So yeah, have a look at this project, and you will have access to some more information. It's most on the tutorial actually. You will have access to some documentation on the Alexa side, where you can see what you want to put in the manifest. So in the advanced tab right there. All right. And last question from Joel. Can we include some Facebook Graph API integration in the Nico hour? This is something I will think of, Joel, but thanks for sharing. Yeah, maybe I will think about that. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for this session. It's time to go. Have a great end of the week and talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Nico. Bye, guys.